Taylor Hall has heard the trade rumors, and he has some thoughts. Frank Nazar does not have thoughts on Corey Pronman's list, and all the kind of news and notes you want from Blackhawks practice today. Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Hump Day. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawoski with Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here running the show. Everyone's running around the studio just waiting to hear our takes on the Blackhawks. Everyone's pulled up a chair and ready to listen, and hope you have too.
Hello,
do us a favor. Hi, everybody. They're not might. Do us a favor. Hit that like button for us.
Trust us, they're there.
Totally. They're all laughing off camera. Make sure you like the show. Subscribe to the YouTube page, and if you're listening on the podcast, thank you. We love you too. Follow, subscribe, like, review, all that great stuff we always remind you to do. We would really, really appreciate that. For an off day, we've got some stuff to talk about. Yeah. Later in the show, we're going to hear from Frank Nazar. We talked to him, just the two of us today after practice, and cornered him about Corey Pronman's list and talk to him about that, so you'll see that conversation. We're going to talk about the Isaac Phillips trade that happened today, but we're going to start with Taylor Hall, who met the media after practice. First started talking about his horrible-looking face.
Yeah, he took the hit to the face from Martin Pospisil, and he's got some stitches on his right eye. It's really, really messed up. And then his bottom lip is also pretty puffy too from I think he's got like a cut down the middle of his face to the boards. Wouldn't recommend.
So like someone farted on his pillow.
Caution if anyone has any problems with looking at
that bad.
I don't know. I saw it and I was like,
that bad. If you're watching a hockey podcast on YouTube, you've seen some injuries.
You've seen some stuff.
I'm sure one of your suggestive videos after you're done watching this is doctor reacts to gruesome hockey injuries.
Yeah, right. With a leg broken in half. Let's hear from Taylor. He actually starts. I got in there a little bit late, so he's talking about.
You were fine.
He's talking about his
like 10 seconds.
Interaction with his barista. So that's where this conversation begins. When his barista saw his face, how did she react? Here's Taylor Hall.
She looked a little concerned, but didn't want to ask. So it's funny when you see people like that.
With Pospisil's kind of been on not very well-liked list for you guys. What were your thoughts on that hit?
Well, I mean, it wasn't a great hit. I don't like the position that I put myself in, but, sometimes when your back's facing the play, it's actually a safer spot to be in because, guys know not to hit you or whatever it may be. It's kind of like when a quarterback spins away and, gets just pushed in the back. But so I don't think he should have hit me, but he's a young guy trying to make his mark in the league, and I understand that it's a fast game at times, so it is what it is.
Is there a rule when a guy, because this is twice now with Pospisil and the Blackhawks, and he's had a reputation for other games. Does there become a rule in the locker room, like next time we see this guy, this is what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think now, Donnie fought him the game in Calgary, so he's kind of faced his retribution for that hit. Mine in particular, he got kicked out, so there's not much you can do, and I don't know if he'll be playing the next time we see him or what, but for sure he'll be a name that's circled on the game sheet, and you try and just exact a little bit of revenge by playing hard and playing smart.
For you on the fourth line right now, not getting as many minutes, what are you trying to do with a little bit less opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, our lines are pretty spread out all the way through, and Donato's had a good year, so it's Patty knows how to make really good hockey plays, so I don't feel like I'm on the fourth line per se. We've had some good chances and some good looks in the two games that we've played. We scored a goal, and this is just the situation I'm in right now.
Now, your name is circulating in trade rumors, I'm sure you know. How do you feel about that? Is that something you're receptive to?
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a business, and I guess we'll see what happens. I don't have a ton of clarity on the situation at this point in time, and there's a lot of moving parts going on, I think, with our team and just our identity and what they're trying to do here. So I'm just trying to play as good a hockey as I can, and wherever they play me, that's what I'm going to do. And we'll see what happens. I came into this year wanting to, continue being a Blackhawk for years to come. I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore, but I'll leave that door open for sure, and understand that it's a business, and the team's going to do what's best for them. And I guess, we'll just see what happens.
Do you think it would be a different case if the team had gotten under a better start under Luke?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look back even to our exhibition games, we got thumped in a lot of games, and it just set our year off on a tough foot. That's no one's fault in particular. It's just the way it happened, and I think that really put us behind the 8 ball. And, for a veteran guy like myself, when that happens at the start of the year, you can kind of see that maybe things are going to shake out maybe a bit differently, or maybe just not how you want throughout the season. So trying to have the best attitude I can, and I'm always going to be a good pro, and I'm always going to play hard. So we'll I just keep saying it, but we'll see what happens. But I'm here, and I love playing with these guys still.
It seems like you've had to deal with a lot emotionally this year. How do you stay positive and not question the direction of where your career's going, or the direction of the team?
I just kind of tried to make a pact almost with myself that I try and not project into the future, because I don't know what's going to happen, and neither does anyone really in this room. So I'm trying to just stay as positive and just take it a day at a time, because you never really know how the year's going to go. You come into it with a lot of optimism, just individually and as a team, and you got to be ready for anything. And that's just part of the business. That's part of being a professional hockey player, and that's part of when you're making as much money as we do. No one's going to feel sorry for you, and nor should they. So I came here today hoping to have the best practice I can and play the best game I can tomorrow, and just keep going from there. Enjoy this trip with my dad, and I think being out last year gave me a lot of perspective on this kind of stuff, and I can still enjoy playing hockey today, so that's a good thing.
Would you want to sign an extension if that was available?
Yeah, I'd like to stay here, but I like the city and I like the group. I have a feeling that's not really in the cards, so yeah, we'll see.
Did your dad?
Obviously not going to make the playoffs here. Would that be a silver lining of going somewhere else, opportunity to get back to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a bright spot, and there's always a positive that you can kind of take going forward. I mean, everyone in a contract year knows that there's a lot of different ways things can go, and like I kind of just said, I'm ready for anything, and I have a great wife who is always ready for a good adventure, and if that's here, if that's somewhere else, we'll figure it out.
Does your dad give you any advice, or do you find any comfort with your new family and everything?
Yeah, my dad and I, we talk a lot about my dad was an athlete, and he played, and he was traded. He knows a little bit about it, and I think it's always really good to talk to someone that has no clarity of the situation, because they can always give you some good advice and kind of give you another perspective on things. So yeah, my dad's a big influence and just a big sounding board for all that kind of stuff, and I think he would just want me to play as well as I can every game, because that's all I can do. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and make none of us veteran guys are gonna sit here and make it about us, because it's not. It's still about the team and how well we can play tomorrow.
That's Taylor Hall. Lots there. By the way, for those that don't know, Taylor Hall's dad is Steve Hall, former Canadian Football League player. So his dad was a pro athlete. So that's when Phil was asking about that. That was the angle there.
Yeah. Cool.
You noticed something in that I had not while being bopped by cameramen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they call it a scrum.
Yes.
What perked up my ears was his comment about, and I don't want to derail because we'll get into the trade stuff. That's the main focus. But where he said, like, we got thumped in some of our exhibition games, and kind of without saying it, put it out there that, like, we had some concerns about how we played in the preseason and how that would lead into how we played this regular season. So to me, I mean, that's something that I heard that and I was just like, oh, so you guys were kind of already fighting the battle before the season even started.
Yeah, entering the season with what Herb Lawrence calls tight booty syndrome. Afraid of making mistakes, afraid of how things were going to go.
Yeah.
And, you know, the preseason was very concerning. And I think we kept telling ourselves, well, it's preseason, a lot of new faces, trying to learn each other. But there's a long-time NHL player telling you what matters.
The only preseason game that, like, you felt good about was the one in Milwaukee. That was basically the Ice Hogs playing, and they won that one. And so, yeah, I mean, if you want to peel it all the way back, I mean, hindsight's 2020. Maybe we should have seen more issues in the preseason, but I think we, from our perspective, we all just kind of were like, well, it takes some time for this lineup to gel. There's still more talent than they've shown in the preseason, and yeah, it's the preseason. You're not necessarily playing your NHL lineup for 5 straight games in the preseason, allowing that to gel. Maybe you should have.
Right.
But that's just not what the preseason's for. And they're going to change the preseason coming up in a few years, I'm sure, cut down on games. But I mean, I found that very interesting. And now to be at, you know, going into game 45 and we're at this spot where they're last in the league and they've looked the way that they have this year, and talk with Alex Vlasic, just kind of, you know, getting a sense from in the room and from the coaching staff, from hearing what Anders has said and what Luke said in his time. Like, the messaging is there, the you know, knowing what to do to get out of this is understood. It's just going out and doing it is where that disconnect comes from.
Yeah. Well, anyway, to the trade rumors, the fact that he said he was kind of looking forward to re-signing here was a bit surprising to me. And I know a lot of people say, well, he's just trying to be polite and pay a lip service. He doesn't need to say he was looking forward to re-signing. He just offered that on his own until, you know, Phil said it, maybe it was Ben, said it again, like, so you would consider coming back here.
Right, yeah.
But he did offer that unprovoked, unprompted. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a world where I'd want Taylor Hall back.
Well, if this team was competing, as Phil said, like, do you think it would be different if this team was playing better? And it would be. If this team was playing better, it probably would mean that a guy like Taylor Hall is performing better than he has been this season. And if that were to be the case, if this team were to be more competitive, if they were, you know, on the big board graphic of in the hunt in the Western Conference rather than at the bottom of the league, I think the vibe for this team, for the veterans, would be a lot different. And I think you'd have more of these guys who came in on 1-year deals, maybe not necessarily looking so intently at the exit door at this point in the season. But I think for Hall, he's a guy that's moved around a lot in his career. I think, you know, maybe I know he's got a young family. Like, I think having some stability and not having to bounce around would be something that he would look into. And probably if this year had gone differently, maybe we would be talking about Taylor Hall getting an extra 2 years or something like that. But that's just not the situation.
I mean, the reality, we got to hit the break zone. All right, let's put a pin in that. We'll come back to it real quick on CHGO Blackhawks. But have you guys tried Mando yet?
Yes.
I have. It is awesome. The deodorant is outstanding. Mando is a men's deodorant brand that's hyper-focused on keeping every aspect of a man's body smelling fresh and clean. Every aspect. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Mando. They're talking about your pits, your belly button, your balls, your butt crack, your grundle, and more. All these are in the copy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's anatomically correct.
I love all their scents. My favorite is the Mount Fuji and the Pro Sport, but the Bourbon Leather is great. The Clover Woods, it's good stuff. I use the bar soap. It's not soap. It's what do they call it? It's like the acidified cleaning bar. It's outstanding. I love that. And the deodorant stick is perfect. It lasts all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really great stuff. Their Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers can get $5 off a starter pack with the code CHGO. Go to shopmando.com, shopmando.com. That's code CHGO to save $5 off a starter pack. That's 40% off. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to grundle with Mando.
Yeah, when I run out of Mando, it makes a difference after my beer league hockey games.
Yeah, we were gonna say, but
yeah,
you said it for us.
And hey, if you're smelling good, that means you'll be able to be up close and personal with all the things that you got going on in life. You could be close to your friends, family. You could be close to nature. You won't have to be far away. But if you don't have Mando, you might have to be far away from those things. You might have to sit across the room from your family, and you might not be able to see them too well. Well, if that's the case, that's where our friends at Right On Optics comes in handy. No matter what outdoor activities you prefer, it's always important to have the best view. Right On Optics offers a full range of optic products so you can see clearly. You can have better views at your kids' sporting events. So if you're one of those parents that berates umpires and you've been kicked out of watching your kids' sporting events, you can use Right On's binoculars from the parking lot, and you can see
from prison.
you can see what's a ball and what's a strike, and be able to make that call from all the way over there. And if you like bird watching, perfect for bird watching.
I'm a middle-aged man. Of course I do.
Nice and peaceful.
Yep.
You can use Right On's binoculars there. And if you happen to get a ticket to a game from our friends at Game Time, and you decided, I don't want to be that close to the seat because I don't want to spend all that money, but I still want to be there, you can use Right On's binoculars from the nosebleeds to make it feel like you're right up there at the 50-yard line. Right On offers high performance at a lower price. It's the perfect balance of performance and value that won't break the bank. And Right On promises an unlimited lifetime warranty that not only covers defects, but it also covers accidental damage from drops. Yeah, those nosebleed seats, they're up there for a reason.
Yeah.
You accidentally drop them because you're celebrating a touchdown or a home run, and you drop those binoculars and they crack. Well, Right On's got you covered. So check out the full line of Right On products today at rightonoptics.com/CHGO. That's rightonoptics.com, RITON, optics.com/CHGO.
All right, back to the Taylor Hall discussion. By the way, if you've not hit the like button for us, please do that now. What I was saying was the reality for Taylor Hall right now is he is a former MVP who is currently playing on the Blackhawks' fourth line. He has been healthy scratch this year. His production has not been where it needs to be. 8 goals, 14 assists in 22 games. He, Andrews was asked about it today. Why is he on a fourth line? He said, it's a guy we need more production from. And we think maybe him playing with Ryan Donato will get him some more production. He needs to be more productive on the power play. I will say, though, this is a guy coming off a complete ACL injury who is maybe feeling 100%, but probably isn't back to 100% of Taylor Hall. And I don't know, my mind started turning a little bit when he talked about being open to coming back. And look, a lot of places have him ranked in the top 5 of trade chips. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, you're probably better off trying to get something for him that will help you in the future. But a Taylor Hall type at $3 or $4 million for a couple of years is not also the worst idea for this team. You do still need a little bit of veteran help. And as we were sort of talking about
re-signing Taylor Hall?
Maybe. So we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the Hawks go young, mm-hmm. right? And we were going through, Bedard, Bertuzzi's going to be here, Foligno's going to be here, Tavo's going to be here. They're all under contract. Dickinson, Nazar, Doc. There is one forward spot available, really. Maybe 2.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
So I would be my priority would be to give it to Ryan Donato. He's younger. He's incredibly versatile. It's a guy who provides a lot to the team, brings something they don't have, is in a willingness to shoot. I think he's just such a versatile player, but I don't know. I think it makes more sense for them to trade him because it feels like simply because of the trade market, they're going to get a decent return for him. And when I say decent, I'm saying a second or third round pick, maybe.
Yeah, I am fully on board with moving on from Taylor Hall. And it's nothing against him. I just think we're at the point with this team that they've made the coaching change. Like they've played that card with this season and the way that it's gone. Now you're at the spot where personnel has to change. And when we were at the point where before Luke Richardson had been fired, we were at the point where you had to do something to shake it up, whether it was calling a guy up, making a trade, firing the coach. They went the coaching route. Now that hasn't turned things around or drastically improved things, now you're at the personnel part. And I think we've seen some call-ups. Nazar is here. Doc is here. Kevin Korchinski had some time up here. And that's been good. Like I'm glad that those guys have been up and gotten a shot to play. Frank Nazar is getting an opportunity with Connor Bedard and Tyler Bertuzzi in tomorrow's game, it looks like. So that's good. But this is still a team that needs a lot more shaken up. And I think you need to open up some space for this first wave of Kyle Davidson's rebuilding blueprint to start making their mark on the NHL team. And that involves getting rid of guys like Taylor Hall and the guys that are on expiring deals. And I think you're better off moving on from him because, like, he's sure. I mean, he's what, 32 offhand?
33. Just turned 33. Yeah.
15 seasons in the NHL. And like you said, like he's coming off an ACL injury. Like this is not New Jersey MVP Taylor Hall. This is not Taylor Hall from when he was with Edmonton. Like this is a guy, even at 33, like that curve is coming downwards. So I think, you might be in a position this offseason where you're looking at a few veterans. Maybe if you don't go for the big fish, you might have a few of those bottom of the lineup veterans. They're not going to cost what Taylor Hall would cost on an extension. And I think if you're sending the message of like, we're moving on from this year, we need to set different standards. Yeah. You can't run it back with most of the guys that you had this season.
I generally agree with that. It just, when he said that, I kind of got my gears moving a little bit and thinking.
Yeah, like I mean, if things were going better this season, I'd be open to it, but they're not,
and they're not going better with him. No. The only thing I would think is another year removed from the injury, he'll probably look a little bit better. We're probably not going to get that answer in Chicago though. Wherever he ends up, if he gets traded at the deadline and then re-signs with that team, or if he hits unrestricted free agency and improves, that would not be a big shock to me. Only because of the leg, but
right.
Also opportunity and talent around him and those sort of things. And I do think, as we've been talking about too for the last few weeks, is I do think there's also an added benefit to being locked up and having some security. And I think guys play differently when they are under contract longer. I don't know if it's conscious or subconscious, but I just feel like guys have a different level of approach and a different level of commitment when they feel committed to. Because as Taylor said, it's a business. I get it. I'm not mad about it. I understand that's what it is, and the team has to do what's best for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there's a difference between feeling like, getting the investment and getting an extension when things are going well, rather than, when maybe you haven't been performing too well.
That's why I think Donato deserves an extension.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the kind of guy.
The extension for Donato, I feel like is one that I think would make more sense because he's a little bit younger. The optics of his game to Taylor Hall's game, I think, are a little bit different. And I feel like Donato is a guy that, like, his name recognition and the back of his hockey card doesn't really give you any reason to be like, well, Ryan Donato's here, he's got to play in the top 6, and it's a big deal if he's not. Like Taylor Hall is, when he first got here, before he was hurt and everything this season, the way his play has gone, it looked like Taylor Hall and Connor Bedard. Taylor Hall was coming here to be stapled to Connor Bedard's hip and be like, no, you're going to be the winger for Bedard that's going to help him transition to the NHL. Like and he's been the opposite of that. Like he is very much not played with Connor Bedard a lot since he's been here. And I just think like when Taylor Hall is playing on the 4th line, it makes a bigger deal than if Ryan Donato is.
Yeah.
Ryan Donato is a guy that he's not going to block any of the young guys coming up. He's a very good player that can accept any role, and it doesn't change how he plays the game. Like if he's playing on the top line, he's going to play the same way as if he's playing on the 4th line. Like he's going to go out there, give you a hard game, forecheck, play with energy, shoot the puck. He's now tied with Connor Bedard for the most shots on the team. So yeah, I think Donato's a guy that
it also sends a message to the young guys on a team of like, if you perform and you do what you're told, not told, you know what I mean, but you do what's expected and you work hard and you do all those things. Like Ryan Donato worked his ass off to get better and faster this offseason, and it's paid off. So to see that rewarded, like I think Ryan Donato has more value to this team going forward than he does in any sort of return he's going to bring in a trade.
Yeah, because you probably only get like a third.
Like if we're talking a 3rd round pick for Taylor Hall with that pedigree and that history,
it's
is the team going to give you a 3rd or like a 3rd for Ryan Donato? I doubt it. And at this point, give me Ryan Donato for 2-3 years.
Yeah,
I don't see a massive decline from him. And if you've got these young players elevating, he's perfectly comfortable, perfectly happy playing on the 4th line. He's done it his whole career. I think he understands the assignment.
Right.
But he's your power play 1 center right now. And he deserves it, right? Like,
the way he's been playing.
That's the kind of guy every team needs a Ryan Donato. As we talk about looking into the future and who's who on the dynasty, right? Like those guys, those Ryan Donato types are the kind that help you win Stanley Cups when your 1st and 2nd line are getting shut down and you need a big goal from your depth players. Ryan Donato is the kind of guy that's going to deliver in that way, and we've got a way to go till we're there.
Yeah.
But I really think that Ryan Donato brings way more value to the Blackhawks than he will bring back on the trade market. Because look, even if it's a 3rd, it's a 3rd from a contender, so it's a second half of the 3rd round,
mid to late 3rd, yeah,
right. And that's a lottery ticket, man. Like at that point, once you're out of the middle of this 3rd round, that's even then.
That's basically you're picking almost outside of the top 100, like of the picks of the class,
and
so
it becomes not even a coin flip of whether or not this guy comes in.
Yeah, the percentages of guys that come out of the 3rd round that become stars is. Right. Or sometimes even NHL regulars
or become a Ryan Donato.
Yeah, are a little bit lower. So yeah, I agree. If we're looking at guys that are on expiring deals that would stick around, my vote would be for Ryan Donato.
I think it just also sends a good message. I'll never forget when I know I mention this all the time, but I know people don't listen all the time. When the Hawks traded Brandon Hagel, and Jonathan Toews said, "Well, if this guy can't be part of what we're doing here, I don't know who can be." And I think I'm not saying that Ryan Donato is Brandon Hagel, but in terms of the way the team thinks about him, I think that it's similar. Where
and you're
let's
also
reward this dude for what he's done.
You're also at different stages of where the organization is at too.
Yeah, 100%.
But 100%. But yeah, and I think the barometer for the reward for the young guys, I think it starts with Alex Vlasic, right? As if you're looking for a comp for the young guys to look to.
Sure.
Because Vlasic came in and he, made his debut in the NHL, played a little bit in the NHL, then went down to Rockford, spent a year in Rockford, worked his way back up to the NHL, and then continued to progress and improve. And he's done everything that the organization's asked of him. And then he got, a pretty nice second deal early in his career. So I think as far as for this next wave of guys coming in, when you look at, a guy like Frank Nazar is gonna going to be coming up for his second contract soon. Obviously, Connor Bedard is going to be coming up for his second contract, or at least be eligible to sign it starting next summer. That'll be, I think that's the first one of that group that's like, you know, the investment, we believe in you as part of this team for the future kind of thing. We've already seen one for a guy like Landon Slaggert. Like there was no, you know, it didn't seem like there was any urgency to really get him an extension, but they said, no, we're going to give you the extension and it's going to be a one-way once it kicks in. So right there is an investment in a guy who's even down the lineup projectably, where they're saying, yeah, we're going to take care of you already. So I think that's where, as far as like rewarding the young guys, that's where that's going to come in. But something for Donato is like when you go into the trade market or the free agency market and you show other vets like, hey, we took care of this. We did it this way. That's just, it's a different way of showing like some faith from the organization standpoint.
100%. All right, we got to hit the break. A couple of your great chat questions coming up next. And please, over 200 people liking, and we only have 77 likes. Make that make sense. Hit the like button for us, please, please, please. And we'll read extra fast on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. And want to remind you, if you love daily fantasy like we do, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks rarely hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Download the app today. Use the code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Do that math. Prize Picks, run your game.
And if you get some winnings on Prize Picks, you might want to celebrate with a new neon sign. And you can do it with our friends at Saturday Neon. Started by two college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logos with LED neon signs perfect for your home, your office, your dorm room, your fan cave or bar, or all of them together.
Yeah.
Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. No better way to represent your favorite Big Ten team with our friends at Saturday Neon or Chicago's Big Ten team, Notre Dame. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you the classic uniform glow that you've come to know and love from neon signs. And Saturday Neon's LEDs last up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your sign for many years to come.
I'll be dead by then. 100,000 hours?
I did the math. That's 11 years.
Yeah, I'm probably dead.
Oh boy.
Too many corn dogs.
This just got morbid. It's the perfect gift for the holiday season and for birthday. We've had a lot of birthdays in the office recently.
Seems like every day someone's celebrating a birthday.
So yeah, if you have a birthday coming up, you have a Valentine's Day gift you want to give, a sign from Saturday Neon, go ahead and do that. And use the code CHGO for 10% off of your order when you go to SaturdayNeon.com. Again, 10% off your order when you use the code CHGO. Do it. Do it now.
Do it now.
Oh, after the show.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. All right, couple good chats. None of these are super chats, but we'll read them anyway. We do welcome your super chats at any time. Come on with the likes here, people. Hit that like button, please. It takes half a second. Holy moly.
Whoa.
Thank you, Sarah. Wake these people up. You're playing like the Blackhawks out there. Let's go. All right, Young Dangle God, which is hard for me to say. This is not about Patrick Kane. He says, oh my God, stop trading for draft picks. We still have a stockpile of first and seconds this year. It's time to trade for pieces and not lottery tickets to pieces that might get here in 3 to 4 years. Well, if you're trading Taylor Hall, who's going to be gone anyway, you also get more draft picks you can trade down the road, and you still have draft picks. So that's kind of the best of both worlds. But I think what Young Dangle God is saying is trading Ryan Donato for a 4th round pick doesn't help the team. having Ryan Donato around helps the team. It checks a box. It fills a need. Mm-hmm. It rewards a guy who deserves to be rewarded. I think trading Ryan Donato for anything less than a second will piss me off. Yeah. And it's not happening. You're not getting a second for Ryan Donato unless you're packaging him for something huge. But is Ryan Donato going to be the key to trading for a star player? I don't think so. Like, it's Vancouver, if it is an Elias Pettersson trade, who people in the chat are calling the new Seth Jones. Oh, my God.
Elias Pettersson is the new Seth Jones.
If they trade for Elias Pettersson, it'll be Seth Jones 2.0. Yeah. So we can look forward to that if that happens. But is he going to be the sweetener that puts Vancouver over the top?
Yes.
They do want a center.
Yeah. There you go.
Fine. If Pettersson comes back, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I would like for Kyle Davidson to, again, not just trade to make a trade. I think he's done a good job of being purposeful in making trades like this. And you look at this year's upcoming draft, you have 2 first-round picks, your own and Toronto's, which at this moment would be a late first. You have 2 second-round picks, your own and Dallas's, which, again, is a late second-round pick. You have no third-round pick this year. So I feel like if you're trading Taylor Hall, probably get a third-round pick in this year's draft from a team. So there you go. There's a third-round pick for this year. You have your own 4th, and the Rangers is 4th. No 5th-round pick. And we know that Kyle Davidson loves to use draft picks as trade pieces. He's done it multiple times. He did it in Nashville, traded draft picks for, I think he moved up in the 2nd round, and then he did it in Vegas, moved up in the 1st round. So I think if you look at, a domino effect of a trade, if you get a 3rd-round pick, maybe you package that 3rd-round pick and maybe one of your 2nd-round picks or both of your 2nd-round picks, then you have a 3rd-round pick if you miss out in the 2nd to get back in the 1st round and have 3 first-round draft picks for 3 straight drafts, or 3 out of the last 4. Like, there's options to go there. So yeah, you can trade guys to get draft picks and then draft players. That's one thing.
Right.
But it's also acquiring draft picks as trade assets that could also improve your draft positioning. So if Taylor Hall snowball down the trade, go down the trade tree, if trading Taylor Hall gets you a pick that eventually is traded in another pick that gets you another 1st-round pick in this year's draft, and down the line gets you somebody who in 2-3 years is playing regular games on your NHL lineup at 20 years old, I mean, that is like the best case scenario in that situation. And I think Kyle Davidson's a guy that values that and looks at that and says that is an actual option.
Well, he's unqualified.
Okay.
So whatever he says is stupid. You need a former player.
Well, speaking of trading Ryan Donato, he is actually number 12 on Frank Saravalli's top 25 trade targets list. Taylor Hall was number 3. I was scrolling down here to see if any other Blackhawks happened to land on the list of top 25. I'm at number 17, 18, 19, 20. Josh Anderson, not Joey Anderson. Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while.
There you go. So yeah, I think I mean it's open. I'm open to whatever they feel is best. Scott Powers, in his What I'm Hearing About the Blackhawks recently that he posted for The Athletic, had said that guys like Alec Martinez and Pat Maroon don't have trade protections, but may be treated as if they do, and saying we're not just going to surprise you and say, oh, you've been traded to wherever without any conversations about it. It might be, we have this option available. How do you feel about it? Giving them that kind of, veteran courtesy, I think is fine.
Yeah.
But I also think, that's, again, like if you can find value for those guys, that helps the Blackhawks. And I can't speak for them, but I feel like those are 2 guys that are still pretty competitive. And if they had the option,
I have no problem with either of those guys on this team right now.
Yeah, no. But if they're in a position to potentially, for either of them, add a 4th Stanley Cup to their resume at the end of their careers, that would probably be a good option to have. But if they're comfortable where they are in Chicago and ride it out for this season, I mean, it stinks because you'd think that was going to be the plan anyways, that they'd be flipped. But if they don't, then they don't.
Before we get to the Corey Pronman, Frank Nazar stuff, Hawks did make a minor league trade today, trading Isaac Phillips to Winnipeg for Dmitry Kuzmin, who is an undersized defenseman, 2nd round pick. Third round pick, but he is Belarusian, much like Artem Levshinov.
Very much like Artem.
Seems like a playmate for Artie. Is kind of what the deal is with this one.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward of Isaac Phillips. Young guy, nice guy. Probably could work his way to being on an NHL roster as like a 7th defenseman, maybe a bottom 3rd pair guy. But just his position in the organization, he got leapfrogged. There's just a lot of really good defensemen coming up with Chicago that we're just going to continue to block his path to the NHL. And I mean, he's again,
Crevier has just jumped over him too.
Jumped over him. Yep. Exactly. Nothing but positive things to say about any interactions I've ever had with Isaac Phillips. He's a really nice guy, really easy to talk to. Whenever he was here in the NHL, he would be someone I would go to be like, you have thoughts. Like, I want to get some thoughts from you specifically. Just gets a fresh start with the Jets organization, and good for him.
Here's what Chris Peters at Flow Hockey had to say about it today. Kuzmin has another year left on his entry-year deal after this one and is a little younger than Phillips. I'd be surprised if he's part of Chicago's long-term plans, given what they have coming on their blue line over the next few seasons. That said, it's a player that adds a slightly different dynamic to their team. On top of that, Kuzmin has a relationship with Levshinov. The two played on Belarus's national teams together, and anything that can be done to make one of your top prospects even more comfortable is probably not a bad thing. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Give Isaac Phillips an opportunity. I'm happy for him. You're right. Like a really, really nice kid with a lot of thoughts. Frank Nazar had some thoughts today too. Kind of.
Yeah. He had some fun things to say.
So we're going to get to Corey Pronman's list here in a second, but we want to ask Frank Nazar about it because it's the 140 best players under 23, and Corey Pronman does not have Frank Nazar on the list. Let's hear what Frank had to say about that.
I don't know how much you keep up with like prospect rankings and stuff, and Corey Pronman came out with his list of the top 140 prospects under 23.
Okay.
You worked on it. What did you do to Corey Pronman? Why is he? I don't know. It's such a strange thing. It comes up every year with him. Do you follow that stuff at all?
No, not at all. I don't know. I don't want to sound bad, but like I'm not good with names, so I don't really know. I don't pay attention to any of those lists. Like even for the draft, like I didn't listen to any of it. I never looked at it until after the draft, and I wanted to see like how it was ranked and then how it ended up. But like, I'm not big on any of that stuff. Like I just do me, and know that stuff will come. So
is that something that's hard to avoid? Because I know like family and friends all might send you things like, oh, this guy ranked you 15th and this guy had you 5th or something like. Is that? Do you say like, hey, don't send me that stuff?
Yeah, honestly, I used to, but like I think everybody knows by now. Like, just leave it out. Like no, like. My parents, my family, like, very thankful that they don't. I told them, I was like, I don't want to look at any of this stuff. Like, I don't really care. It's just a bunch of outside noise you don't need. And then they tell everybody else that too. So like, they do a good job at, making sure everybody knows. Don't send that stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. No one really cares. So that helped a lot throughout the draft process and like moving forward.
We won't bring it up again though.
Yeah.
How was the birthday yesterday?
It was good. Just a chill day. Skated in the morning, had a nice dinner, and then just relaxed with some family. That's it.
You got your dad coming on?
No, he has to work, so I'm here with my brother-in-law.
Oh, fun.
So we're here to have a good time and hopefully get a win.
You feel like your game's coming around? It seems like you got starting to figure out the speed of the game a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely. I think just throughout playing the game, learning from teammates and from video and coaches, I think it's just you start to understand it. It's not that I didn't understand it. It's just like every league you move into is different. There's always going to be like a little learning curve, and you get over that curve and start to understand, and it starts to come more often, more efficient. And been getting chances. It's just a matter of those chances going in. And obviously, like every team in the NHL's got a good goalie and good defense behind them. So just being able to keep going and get those chances more often until they start going in more is just the key.
Saw you with Connor today during practice.
Yeah.
You looking forward to that? And what sort of challenges does it present to play with a guy with that much skill and ability? It's got to be ready all the time, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just go out there, play hockey, right? Just don't think about it too much. Like, I know he's an amazing hockey player, great guy too. Just be able to go out there and just do me, like not being put with him for no reason. Like there's reasons, so just play my style of game and try to, help him get the puck, help him get chances, and do all that stuff. And I think it comes full circle, So I think team success is an individual success, and I think that'll help. I'm excited.
You and Connor and Colton, those guys, like you guys have had a few prospect camps together, some time to gel, play in Rockford and stuff. How do you feel like that chemistry is coming now that you guys are all kind of here in the NHL now?
I definitely think it helps a lot more like off the ice. Just being more comfortable with talking to each other. Like, Colton and I talk a lot on the bench, like during the games, like, hey, like let's try this, do this, like, oh, this didn't work, let's try doing this. It's a lot more comfortable just talk to your teammate and guys a lot better about things maybe you should try, do differently. It's like, and they know like if you bring something up, it's not in a mean way. So like, I think that helps a lot, just knowing your teammates in that sense.
Is there a sense of that, like feeling like someone that you have a little bit more in common with, someone that you're coming up with at the same time? Is that kind of playing into it too for just being in this environment?
Definitely a little bit, but I don't know. Everyone views everyone as the same. No one's really over anybody, so it's more just like Docker's Docker, It's like it's not Docker the rookie, it's that's Docker, So I think that's the thing. No one really views it too much as that.
Shenanigans. If there was, I said this to Mario today after practice, if there was a running list of hockey podcasters under 50 published every year, I'm not going to look at it. I don't pay attention to that stuff. Bull crap. Yes, you do look at it, Frank, you liar. I wasn't going to call him that. No, I get what he's saying, though. Like, for your mental health, you kind of want to stay out of that stuff, but it's very hard to not look at that if it's in front of your face.
Yeah, I mean, when you have, like, a family embargo on do not send Frank anything about Frank, like, maybe that helps. But, yeah, I mean, it's got to be really, really hard to not pay attention or even just, have someone say something to you. Who's not us.
Yeah, well,
whose job is asking these guys
we won't bring
questions.
it up again. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, it's good to hear from Nazar, regarding like how the young guys are coming up, how the perception of them are in the locker room, like kind of like he says at the end, like you're not necessarily looking at everyone else as like, oh, us versus them kind of thing,
right?
Which is good. I think that's the way that you kind of should look at it. And as I wrote about and we've talked about over the last week regarding culture and how this team is going to move forward, I think a lot of the young guys, they should be the ones starting to build it relatively soon. And Nazar seems like a guy that is going to be part of that, and seems like a guy that as long as his play goes along the projections of, being a top 6 player, he's going to be a guy that his voice should, resonate within the locker room. And some of these young guys coming up, I think it feels like they, when given the opportunity, will be able to, be pretty good leaders. And a lot of these guys have been leaders, at the junior levels, and, whether it's being captains of teams or, like Colton Dock was the captain of his junior team in the WHL before he was traded to Seattle, and Nolan Allen was on the leadership group, and like Ethan Del Mastro, he was the captain of his junior team. Ryan Green in college right now is captain at Boston. Like a lot of these guys have had those roles. So as they come up, they've had experience of being the lead voice in the locker room. Then they get to the, AHL or NHL, and there's a pecking order. But I think as this team evolves from this year to next year, hopefully that pecking order is a little shorter of guys who are quote unquote above those young guys, and those guys can start speaking up more.
And by the way, that's not coincidence. I mean, for all the crap Kyle Davidson's taking because the veterans he brought in this year aren't working, he certainly has a type.
Yeah.
Young, fast leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want your team to not resemble what this team looks like, you bring in a bunch of guys who have been captains their entire careers and leaders of their teams, and guys who have won, like Oliver Moore has won a gold medal for the U.S. And no, he wasn't their leading scorer, but he played an important role and was willing to play that role for the betterment of the team. That is not just picking a name out of a hat or picking a name off a ranking list. Kyle Davidson is targeting players of a certain type. And when it all comes to fruition, that's when you'll see what the real plan was. Not just the fact that the bridge year this year didn't work as well as people hoped it would, I don't think changes anything about the actual long-term plan or the or the execution of it. I don't think he strayed from that execution at all. So anyway, we should get to the actual Pronman list here.
Yeah, here's the list published yesterday by Corey Pronman of The Athletic, ranking the top NHL players and prospects under 23 years old. So these are guys that are 22 years old or younger as of January 1st of this year. And he also qualifies it and says, this is a ranking meant to show who I think will have the best pro careers, not who I would take in an NHL game tomorrow. So that's good clarity here. 9 Blackhawks on the list. The first tier of players is 3 players deep. The tier is called Elite NHL Player. He has Macklin Celebrini, Tim Stützle, and Connor Bedard. So Connor Bedard, in Corey Pronman's mind, is in the tier of future Elite NHL Player and third amongst Celebrini, Stützle, and himself. How do you feel about that?
I feel like Connor Bedard will be a significantly better player than Tim Stützle. It's nothing against Tim Stützle, but really, I don't know. Parts of me when I see some of these things is like, you are looking for reaction. You are looking for people to get fired up about, so I'm not going to. I am going to disagree respectfully with Corey Pronman, and I'm going to bet that Connor Bedard has a better NHL career as an individual than Tim Stützle. Now, I don't see Ottawa lifting several cups either, but if I'm betting on someone's career, I'm taking Bedard over Stützle. I don't think that's controversial.
I don't think that's too controversial. This is why I love my original idea, wink, of the prospect,
like Mailbag Monday
prospect pyramid, because it's not numerical. It's not one guy above the other. It's based all on the tiers. So if you look at it, sure, Bedard is third. There's 2 guys ahead of him. Everyone loses their mind. But they're all in the same tier, and I think if you brought this to a lot of scouts and analysts and people, in around the NHL world, they'd have these 3 guys on this list, all in the same range, and they'd probably have a different 1, 2, and 3 by the person that you talk to. So the fact that they're all in the same tier of this is a player that will be an elite NHL player when it's all said and done, or be in that category, I think that is still what you ride home about. Would you like to see Bedard at number 1 or 2?
Yeah,
sure, but it's nothing to lose your mind over. The next list is NHL All-Star Tier 2. No Blackhawks in there. Tier 3, Bubble NHL All-Star and top of the lineup player. Blackhawks have 1 player in this list. At number 22, it is Artem Levshinov. 1 spot ahead of Brock Faber. Suck it. And 4 spots behind the next highest defenseman ahead of Levshinov is Owen Power at number 18.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if you're in the tier that includes Logan Cooley, Yuri Slafkovsky, Ivan Demidov, Matty Beniers, Owen Power, Brock Faber, Kent Johnson, Seth Jarvis, like if you're in that grouping of players and you say Artem Levshunov, I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
because that feels right. Like if you were to say Artem Levshunov is on the bubble of being an all-star and he will be at the top of your defensive pairing group, I would say yes, that sounds right.
Should I read the little blurb here on Levshunov?
Sure.
Levshunov has been good as a teenage defenseman in the AHL, although there have been some bumps, and he hasn't performed as expected after the 2024 number 2 pick was a dominant college player. He's extremely skilled and creative, both as a puck handler and passer, with a real smoothness and confidence in his puck touches. He skates well and can play an up-tempo style in how he attacks. He has the offensive sense to potentially run a power play 1 in the NHL and has a good point shot too. His defensive play doesn't stand out as much, particularly because he tries to attack so much. He makes enough stops to ease most evaluators' concerns, but at the pro level, he's shown some struggles in that regard. He projects as a top pair NHL defenseman who can provide a lot of offense. Exactly what we thought we were getting when the Blackhawks drafted Levshunov.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, going through this, and I'm going to post on allchgo.com a more in-depth written version of this conversation. You can find that on allchgo.com later, either tonight or tomorrow morning. It'll be for diehards, so just be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I mean, I think in going through that, we saw that, you know, I went back and looked at what was the consensus on Levshunov going into the draft, and out of 5 prospect and draft analysts leading up to the 2024 draft, Pronman, Scott Wheeler, Chris Peters, Bob McKenzie, and Craig Button, 4 out of those 5 had Levshunov either 2 or 3.
Right.
And Craig Button had him 8. And we had Craig Button on the show leading up to the draft, and he was
we all
very
had panic attacks,
very adamant about Ivan Demidov and laid it out leading up to that. But I say that the way that Levshunov has played over these last 3 to 4 years of his life, it's been a lot. And every promotion he's had, from playing in Belarus to coming over to North America for the first time and being a top rookie in the USHL, and then going to college and being the top rookie in the Big Ten, the best defenseman in the Big Ten, being an All-American, and then going to the AHL and like learning the pro game at 19 years old. Like, he's met every challenge. So I think he's doing just fine. I think he makes sense being on this tier in this list. And we'll go one more tier down. Well, 2 more tiers down, rather. Tier 5 is where we find the next 3 Blackhawks out of the 9 ranked by Corey Pronman. This tier is bubble of the top of the lineup, or bubble top and middle of the lineup players. So second, maybe third line forward, second pair defenseman. 3 players in here, 2 back-to-back at 66 and 67, Kevin Korchinski and Sam Rinzel. And at 73, Roman Kantsarov. And this feels right.
Yep.
This feels right. I think you have 2 guys in Korchinski and Rinzel that mirror each other's game. One's a left shot, one's a right shot. I think Sam Rinzel is ahead of the project pick that he looked like he was going to be. And if these 2 guys are in your top 4 of the future, you've hit the nail on the head of what you were looking to get out of those picks. Both of them coming in the 2022 first round pick.
Yep. Very solid.
And Kantsarov is a guy that I think he has the ability to be the steal of the 2023 draft class the way he's playing. His contract in Russia ends after next season. He's 20 years old, and he's the only guy who is playing at or 1 point below a point per game pace or better in the KHL that is younger than 28 years old.
That's crazy.
That's pretty impressive. So he's having a really good season. So check out Corey's list for the full thing. And again, allchgo.com. I'm going to have a little bit more details on that conversation in written form.
100%. And you could find that, nice segue, at allchgo.com later today. And there you can become a diehard. And you should. Lots of good reasons to do that. I think this will be unlocked, what you're writing today, right?
No, this is going to be diehard.
Ooh, diehard only. So if you want to read this, you've got to become a diehard. AllCHGO.com. Scan that QR code on your screen to join. You get access to all of our great written content like Mario's putting out today. I got my Blackhawks beat coming out Friday, rebuild reports, etc. All that stuff coming out on a frequent basis. You also get a free shirt or hat upon sign up, or $35 off a hoodie like the one Mario is rocking right there. And 20% off all of our great merch, like the Play Like a Champion shirt that's on your screen right now, just in time for the Monday's National Championship. And you'll save on all of our events like Monday's Sweet Takeover and tailgates and watch parties and all that great stuff. You get a shirt, you go to an event, the thing pays for itself, and it really helps sustain what we're doing here at CHGO. So we'd love to have you as a CHGO diehard. Please join us today by scanning that QR code or going to allchgo.com. All right, we're back tomorrow, 6:30 pregame, Hawks and Preds, and then we'll be on, of course, after the game. Get a winning streak going here, or maybe just a win. A win?
I would like a win over the Predators.
That would
nice.
be dandy.
I'd like a win.
A win.
Win.
Would be nice. I said today on Twitter, if they win 5 in a row, I'm going to wear a man onesie, like the polo that buttons underneath. I'll wear one of those on the show if the Hawks win 5 games in a row.
If they get 5 games in a row, I'll join you guys on your next show.
Just come and sit with us?
Yeah, because I never get to be on camera.
Okay, you're not going to wear a onesie, though.
No.
Okay.
I don't think I
so.
own one. Yeah.
Well, I'd have to order one.
Well,
I
if
don't
they
know
win 5 in a row,
We could get we could all do Hawks matching onesies if they win 5.
Sure.
That's a good one. Yeah, if we win 5 games, we'll do that.
All right.
Clock it.
Sure. Jake's paying for that. All right. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 6:30 on the CHGO Blackhawks pregame show. Hit that like button on your way out. We love you. Talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.